Good afternoon. Welcome to the JB Show on Revolutionary Blackout Network. I'd like to give a warm welcome to all of you and remind you that the JB Show streams every single Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can also catch me on RBN Live on Tuesdays at 4, and as well as the Savvy and JB Show on Thursdays at 6. I also host my own channel on the JB Font channel. You can catch me there on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, with maybe some additional streams throughout the week. Please make sure to click the thumbs up. And if you are new to this channel, please make sure to smash down that subscribe button and click the notification bell to be notified whenever new content is uploaded. This is going to be a very deep subject. I want to tell everyone who is watching, who is within the sound of my voice right now, if you are not, share this on social media right now. This is a story that absolutely needs to be told. This is a story that needs to get out. This is a very powerful corporation. And I implore anybody that knows of, or anybody that's an independent media that watches the JB Show here on RBN, I want you to also take note of this and also try to share the story as much as you possibly can. This is something that needs to be put out there because unfortunately, because of the system that we live in, we have these corporations that take advantage of the working people, and we see this happen day in and day out. And my guest today will be talking about her experience about working with Amazon. And so, if any of you can share this as widely as possible, then please make sure to do that. I'll be getting to the chat later in the stream just to say my customary hellos, but this is, because of the brevity of this situation, because of the brevity of this subject, I'm not going to be as happy-go-lucky as I typically am, but I really do want you all to pay keen attention to this. I just want to introduce my guest, Miss Tina Brown. Miss Tina is the sister of Pushon Brown. And I just want to welcome you. And I also want to say that it's an honor to have you on to tell your story, Miss Tina.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate you reaching out to me. Me and my mom are very appreciative. Thank you so much. It means a lot to us.
Yeah, thank you so much. So if you can tell us a little bit about your sister, Pushon Brown, and what happened to her regarding Amazon, if you can give us that story.
Okay. So I'll tell you about my sister. She's my little sister. And she was an Amazon employee. She worked at Amazon for 4.5 years. She started off working as a driver, and then she moved over to the Prime. She started off as a driver for Prime, and then the Fresh department. And then the last job, her last position was in the warehouse. She worked at the Springfield, Virginia warehouse in DDC3. And she worked there as a sorter, as a package sorter. She came in on a night shift, and she worked as a sorter. She actually she worked every position in the warehouse. They have multiple shifts, so I also worked there. I worked for the pick shift, which was the morning shift from 5:15 to 10:15, and she worked the night shift. And I believe that shift started at 9. She worked from 9 until 6:45. She worked at 9 until, I'm sorry, when I capped that, she was even from 9 until 4:45, 5. So when I was getting there, when I was coming to work, she was going, but she would always wait for me, call and say, hey, where you at? I'm about to leave. So, so she she started off with the night position, and then she gradually did different shifts because, at Amazon, you can PTO, you can get different shifts. So she worked the night shift, I want to say probably for about maybe a year and a half, 2 years. And then she started to work different shifts. The night shift consists of picking, stowing, package handling, the belt, just you're doing everything. The night shift does everything. My position at Amazon, all I did was pick. I mean, all I did was pick. And picking is when you're getting the packages together to go to their routes. You're getting them the packages to go to their particular routes, getting them out so that the drivers can come place them in the trucks. So we picked, and we loaded the trucks. Now, she was fine. It was rough. Starting off, we both drive. It was rough. We thought that it was going to be better going to the warehouse. We got to the warehouse. Like I said, that was her final position at the warehouse. 2020 came, the COVID came, and things got real serious. My sister, I never heard her complain about any position in the warehouse, about anything. She was very, very quiet, very shy. She would do what she was told. She would do what she was told, what she was asked. She would come to work. She would come in early. She would stay late. That was very typical of them. If your shift was ending at 5:45 and the truck was running late, because they have trucks that come in, there's multiple trucks that come in with the packages on the trucks so that they can be packaged and stowed and transferred. Sometimes the trucks would be late with the traffic, and so the trucks would come in, and if they got there late, they needed people to stay. She would come in early. She would stay late. Even if it got to the point to where she couldn't pick her child up, call me, hey, I got to stay late, or whatever. And I told her multiple times that she should tell them. Don't just like, if you got to pick your daughter up, you got to pick your daughter up. You're on a scheduled shift. So let them know that you have to leave at a certain time. Oh, I don't want to start anything, Chris. It's okay. It's all right. It's all right. So that happened a lot there. But 2020 is when I heard her start getting her voice, and not only getting her voice, she was advocating, and not only advocating, she was doing it for everyone. We were in a worldwide pandemic, and I remember it started off with her. We had talked about this. She was asking me, you coming to work? And I said, I'm scared. And I want to tell you, for the first 2 weeks, I believe the first 2 weeks, they were like, the world closed down on March the 13th, 2020. I remember very well. The world closed down.
Yeah.
We were scared. We were like, is the warehouse going to close? What's going to happen? So I believe that they were trying to come up with a play for how are we going to get over 500,000 packages out a day, and keep everybody in a position to where everyone can be safe. So I think they were coming up with something. So I said, I want to hear what they have to offer before I come, because like I said, it was just a part-time job to me. This was her only job. Her only job. And so she said, okay, well, all right, I'm going to go see what's going on. But I told her, make sure you mask up, get several masks. And I did work 2020. I did. I'm not going to lie. I worked 2020. I was actually one of the first people in the warehouse to start wearing a mask, because the mask was not mandated. Mask rules were not mandated. Even when outside was mandated, it was not mandated inside the warehouse. And it's hard when you have to pick over, 10,000 packages for one person in 4 hours, and to wear a mask, you can't breathe, you're sweating. It was hard. So I understand some people didn't feel comfortable with wearing it, but at the time, this was March 13th, 2020. We didn't see until 2-3 months. This is killing hundreds of thousands of people. Then excuse my language, shit really got real.
Yeah.
So my sister sent her first email to Amazon. She sent her first email to Amazon. I want to say maybe this second week of April. I have all the emails because she forwarded them to me. She emailed them about maybe a number of, I want to say 4 to 6 times. She complained to the L4s, the L5s, the L6s several times. And that is a manager that's on duty there. Okay. Also, HR is on duty there. She made several complaints to them. She wrote them. She did the A to Z. That's the human resources. That's when you can go on your phone and you can just do a live chat with someone. That's how they have it at
Okay.
Amazon. So all
Okay.
of these things she was doing, and she was showing me and sending to me. And I told her, I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Dukes. You know, that's my nickname. That's what I will call her. That's the nickname I have for her, or Pooh. I said, I'm proud of you because, you know, she was worried. She was worried about people, and not to mention that my mother is bedridden. So she was worried
Mhm.
about that.
Yeah.
So I want to say it was either April the 16th or the 12th, Jeff Bezos announced that
Mhm.
Amazon was going to be opening up its COVID testing department. I'm not sure
Mhm.
if I sent you the paperwork, but when we get off, I'll send it if you want to post it.
Okay.
Um, he opened up that Amazon was going to be doing its own COVID, you know, department. So we were just like, we would always
Mhm.
see stuff in the news. We would know stuff for working there since we were working there. But
Mhm.
when it came out to you guys, I guess, you know, it was like really late y'all hearing about it. Just like I have to
Mhm.
say, when it came out, people was shocked and absurd to hear about the drivers feces and urinating. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, you guys, that's that was going on for a very long time. I was shocked that you guys
Uh,
had just heard about it because that goes on for a long time. It's because people do that in the warehouse, and people do that is because you can't leave your position. If that belt is going, that conveyor belt, you cannot leave. Like, it's push to pull in there. Like, if you have a position and you're on a warehouse C or you're in D, you cannot move because everybody is depending. You need their dependency. Like, if you move, you go to the bathroom for whatever reason, that's it. You can mess the whole thing up. And that's why people, somebody sent me a post like 2 weeks ago saying a worker just got fired because they said they need to use the bathroom at Amazon and they wouldn't let them go. That's why when you guys heard it in the news, just, I don't know, was it last year or I
mhm.
don't know when it came
Yeah.
out, we was confused because that's been happening at the warehouse. People have been using the bathrooms on themselves or using the bathroom in a corner because they can't move off their
Oh
position. That happens so
God.
often. So when it made the news, I was like, wow, we were just like, y'all just hearing about this now. So that's not that's a fact. Like I said, I work there. That's what happens at Amazon. Not to mention when you are in a position
Yeah.
and people are telling you that they're going to be making changes and stuff, you want to give a person a benefit of the doubt. So my sister wrote emails, and then we had HR that was there, so it's like you could go talk to them too. So you're talking
Yeah.
to them, they're telling you these are the upcoming things, so you believe them, right? We're going to get extra cleaners in here, extra this and extra that. But that didn't happen. What happened was, this is the warehouse, and her last attempt was to ask them could they close the warehouse down, not for 24 hours, just for a couple hours, because you have carts, you have trays, you have bins. Like, the packages just don't walk themselves. Some of the packages are 100 pounds and up. They have to be pushed on a cart. They have to be pushed on a tray. So she was just asking, and what we had wanted is for the warehouse to close for a couple hours so the cleaners could come in and sanitize and clean everything.
Yeah. That's
The
reasonable.
Yeah, just for a couple hours, because I mean, it's Amazon. It's open 24 hours. We know that it's not going to be closed down the whole day, which the whole world had closed down, and which people were not. Businesses had stopped. That should have been done. That should have been done.
Yes.
That should have been done at least not twice a
Yes.
week, at least once a week, a full
Yes.
day for the warehouse to come in and get closed down and get sanitized and get clean. Because at this point, no one knows what COVID is. All we know is that you're catching it. You're going to the hospital. You're dying. You're not coming back home. You're going to sleep, and you're not waking up. No one
Yes.
knows anything about this. No one knows anything. All we know is that if you get it, you can be dead in a couple of days. That's all we know.
Yeah.
So, um, so she sent the last email. They said we're going to imply rules to stay 6 feet apart. We're getting up a COVID department, and with that, we were like, okay, that's great. So they had a COVID safety department, which was to tell people to stay 6 feet away from each other. Make sure that each station had hand sanitizer, masks, gloves, etc. Because, like I said before, we had ran out of that, and we were so confused. We had ran out of that at the end of March because we were confused. If this is Amazon, the most powerful company in the world, and people are placing delivers and can get them within the next 2 to 4 hours, same day. Why do the workers have no gloves? Why don't we have masks? Why don't we have hand sanitizer? Why don't we have the proper things if we're keeping this ship going? Why don't we have
Just
proper things?
just one question. Now, as far as the ventilation goes in these warehouses, were they well ventilated as well, or were they just like a typical warehouse?
Mr. JB, that I'm glad you brought that up is because I was going to skip over. Like I said, I'm a factual person. I like to only stay on the facts and speak on the facts. We didn't have air conditioning in the warehouse. The warehouse is not set up for circulation, and they'll tell you that the DDC3 warehouse did not have air conditioner. There's no air conditioner, there's no heat. So if it's 100 degrees outside, it's 110 degrees in that warehouse. And you don't hear the stories about the people falling out, the ambulance being there every other day, because if your package doesn't come from Amazon, you're going to go online on your app and you're going to say package didn't show up. You're not going to talk to anyone. You're not going to go to the warehouse. You probably don't even know where the warehouse is to go. And if you go there, you're not going to get in. The ambulance is there every other day, people falling out. It's no air conditioner. It's 92 degrees outside. It's 110 degrees in here. It's not set up for that. And the warehouses wasn't set up for that. It wasn't set up for that.
I ask you that because there's literally a warehouse about a mile and a half away from me.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fulfillment center,
mm-hmm.
and that alone, without having proper ventilation,
mm-hmm.
is dangerous in itself. The fact that these warehouses don't have air conditioning, that is extremely dangerous too. So please continue. I just wanted to.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up because like I said, I'm a factual person. I understand that. I don't know if I can really speak on it. There was a worker in New Jersey who passed out, and I've heard different things, and I don't know if I can speak on it because I know that they do watch. I don't know what happened, but I definitely want to send my condolences to him. He died during the prime. He died the day of the prime in July, and when they have Prime and Black Friday sales and Christmas stuff like that, if you're ordering a package at 9:00 in the morning and it said it's guaranteed for you to be there at 12, you better believe that somebody's in that warehouse, and they're in that warehouse and working more than overtime to get those things out because we had goals and we had quotas. Every shift had a goal and quota, and if they didn't make it, it would roll over to the next shift, and that's what people don't understand. So going back to what you said, there is no air conditioner, and there was no air conditioner or heating in there, and we're working in the thick of COVID. Sometimes with masks, sometimes with no mask, with no gloves. So,
oh gosh,
the department that they moved her to was the safety COVID department, and they said because she was so strong with advocating for her and the other employees, this would be good. She could keep employers, safe. So that was around. I want to say she started that department, I want to say between July and August. Now, October is when she started to do the COVID testing. And, I'm not trying to get emotional because I've told this story. I feel like I've told it a million times. But when I just think because my sister died January 8, 2021. When I think of everything that we know now and everything that has happened and all the people that died from COVID, I cannot, and we never imagined in a million years that Amazon, Jeff Bezos would be allowing and he introduced the COVID department, but he never told the world who was going to be COVID testing. We were thinking, because we heard it before you guys, before it made the news, we were thinking that, that there was going to be a team of nurses and doctors come in maybe every other day or designate a couple of days or even have a trailer set up outside or even a different part in the warehouse. We would never think that Amazon workers would be COVID testing and trained by other Amazon workers to swab people's nose. And it would be done in a corner with no gear inside a warehouse right by the cafeteria, the lunchroom, the break room. We never thought that. So in October, my sister started COVID testing, and I had a lot of me and my sister never got into an argument. Probably in all her years, my baby just turned 40 on Saturday, September 17th. Probably only maybe 2-3 arguments. And I asked her, I said, well, how you gonna do that? What's happening? Like, what do you mean? Oh, it's okay, and then we're gonna get this. And then I know that there was additional pays that was involved that she never got. I think the hazard pay was I think they gave hazard pay for 4 months, and that was it. I know that there was supposed to be additional bonus and pay that she was supposed to get, and I was told it came. A worker had called me in like February, April. My sister died in January. She didn't get it. Nothing ever came to her or her account or my mom. So she worked from October to January. Her last day at Amazon was January 7th. She died January 8th. COVID testing. Now, like I said, in October was when she started the physically COVID testing, swabbing the other employees' nose. And I believe first she was just doing the employees in the warehouse, and then they had opened it up to the drivers. Now you have several different, just because you see a truck that says Amazon, you see those that say Amazon Prime. They have different companies out there to deliver for Amazon. So everybody was coming in. Those drivers were coming in. So she COVID tested anybody who had came in contact, thought that they came in contact, or had signs of COVID. They never knew. They didn't get the email back. They didn't know, hey, that person you tested at 1 o'clock was positive. They didn't know that it went to the person. So she never knew who, if she COVID tested, how many people. If she tested 6 people that day, if 4 people had COVID, she never knew. And I want to keep in mind, and this is the one thing that I look back on, and last year I was so hurt. I was devastated. And like I told you prior to our phone call, I barely made it. I damn near didn't make it. My sister was everything to me.
Yeah.
She was my baby sister, everything to me. I talked to her at least 20 times a day.
Wow.
It was no place that we didn't go together. And I think back and I look back about it now, and I say, well, damn, he had them in there COVID testing with no proper PPE inside a building that has no circulation, with a regular Amazon check mask on, not even a proper N95 mask, like none of this. And the first vaccination didn't even come out until December 14th, 2020. And then when that came out, people didn't know what. People still don't know. You understand? And then it's 2022. What were you thinking, Jeff Bezos? What were you thinking? These people put their life on the line. My sister put her life on the line. She worked the whole 2020. She worked for you to her last days of this earth. She worked to you to the day she died. What were you thinking? What were you thinking? Like, who taught you? Who told you that was okay in the middle of a pandemic? And keep in mind, we were watching the news. I remember the day that they had like 3,000 people die in New York. I remember I was in a break room and I was watching it, and they came on TV. They was like, it's a sad day in New York. People were going to the hospitals and not coming home. People were scared to go to the hospitals because they weren't coming home, so they stayed at home and died. People were going to sleep and not waking up. What were you thinking in the middle of a pandemic worldwide to have people that came there to be sorters, package handlers, drivers, deliverers, go there and COVID test? Like, who authorized you to do that?
Yeah. And I think one of the things that needs to be emphasized is that during COVID, and you can definitely speak to this, the amount of fulfillments that you guys had to do, didn't it go up exponentially because nobody can go to the stores?
It was insane. It was insane. So, the goals and the quotas went up. Like, it was insane. Like, you can't imagine. People were scared. There were people, listen, we didn't even know if you were in there picking or handling by a person who has COVID. People were scared. Not only were people scared, people put their life on the line. They had people there passed out. People were coming and throwing up. I mean, it was so much going on. And not only that, like, I did not hear this myself, so I can't say this is a fact, but I had heard from someone that when they started doing fever tests, if you felt like you had a fever, you got to go into another door because people needed to work. Keep in mind, this is in the middle. People still have to pay their bills. Even though the world shut down, people still had to pay their bills. They didn't apply that stuff to, all that stuff until later. Like, people still had to pay their bills. People still had to take care of their kids. So people were going in through different doors if they felt like they had a fever or they were sick, going through different doors just so that they could work. So I can just tell you I can just tell you this is that I was there, and it's no way for this person to have this amount of money and Amazon is worldwide. I want to say that they're just not in America; they're worldwide.
Yeah.
Why didn't you have the proper? I'm still just trying to figure out. Like, I couldn't wrap my head last year around because I was so grieving. I was so upset. I was so angry. I was so hurt. I had so much going on because I couldn't understand how me and my sister had plans that day. And I called
Yeah.
her and she was gone. I spoke to her. I got off the phone with her that Thursday at 2:30 in the morning. We had plans to go to the store, to the furniture store, and my sister is dead the next day. On January 7th was the last day my sister worked at Amazon. I had spoke to her 3 times while she was at work, and she had her earpiece in and she had it covered up. So, because you're not supposed to be on the phone. And I had spoke to her. She had tested like 3 people that day. Because she's kept telling me, I'm going to call you back. I got to do a test. And I said, okay. She said that she wasn't feeling well. She said that she was feeling a little sluggish and she had a headache. And I said, well, why don't you leave now? And she was like, I can't leave. Because her shift was Sunday through Thursday in the safety COVID department from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
Okay.
She got home that day at 7:39. I remember like it was yesterday. And she said, I just got home, Chris. I'm changed mom and everything, and I'll call you. So she got home, got herself together, and I said, how you feeling? She was like, just tired. I've been on my feet all day. And I said, okay. We talked to 2:30 that day, 2:30 in the morning, because she was off the next day. She had that Friday and Saturday off. And the next day, my sister never woke up. And I'm gonna tell you, when I think back about it, that was my baby sister.
Yeah.
I should have been more firm with her because we did get into arguments about that.
Yeah.
And like I said, we only had probably about maybe 2, 3 arguments since we were kids because we were a year apart. So, you're a little kid in elementary, whatever, growing up. But
Yeah.
I think back about I should have been more firm with her about that because we did get into arguments about her in that position. My mom didn't want us to argue, to fight. And I told her that I wanted her by December. I wanted her to open up her own cake business because my sister could bake, she could cook. And she said, okay, Chris, you help me, you get everything together because me and my mom had a long talk about it. And I was adamant because the treatment, how they treated people and how they treated her, they worked my sister like a dog because she never said no. And she told me the day before Christmas, she was like, okay, I want to do this. She was scared. She had never been on her own. She had always worked for other companies. And I told her, the way you can cook and the way you can bake, we can set you up, even if you do home deliveries first. She said, okay. 10 days later, my sister was gone. And I feel like thinking back about it, like I was her big sister. I should have been more firm with her. I should have been like, you got a child, you got mom, you can't be in this position. And I never forget, I was on an interview and they had the open chat and the person was like, well, why would she be doing that if she knew that if she was a single mom and this and then this is what I say to people. When you go back we did the march with the Union March with Chris on September 5th, and that's when he opened up the Pushon Brown Amazon Labor Union. So I'm gonna get into that in a minute, but I had to tell a reporter, when you ask Jeff Bezos why he had Amazon employees, regular people who were not nurses or doctors with no medical training, who signed up to be sorters and package handlers and delivery drivers, COVID tests, then you can come back and I'll tell you why my sister did what she did. Because nobody is in a position to judge. She's a single mother. And nobody paid her bills and nobody pays her bills. Nobody helps me take care of my niece but me. So when people say stuff like that, that just gets me. Why do you go to work? Why do you do what you do? It's people who work a job every single day who get up and do things that they don't want to do.
Okay, so I'm also going to add. Can I, if you don't mind, I can.
Oh, go
I'm
ahead.
going to add to your point. This is something that a lot of people do not understand, and typically, a lot of times, people who have more resources will ask that question.
Yeah.
I'm going to share my screen really quick.
Okay.
There's a word that people need to know the meaning of. The word is called duress. Duress, the definition is threats, violence, constraints, or other action brought to bear on someone to do something against their will or better judgment. The word duress is synonymous with coercion, compulsion, force, pressure, and intimidation. If you do not have the means, if you're constantly under coercion, compulsion, force, pressure, or intimidation, you know, to provide for a household so that you're not homeless, or to have health care, or any one of these things that's absolutely necessary for our survival, you are working under duress. This is happening to millions of workers,
Absolutely.
not just in this country, but all over the world,
Yep,
where you're
absolutely.
constantly under the threat of homelessness,
Mm-hmm.
no health care, no education, and starvation.
Yep.
So of course she took that position, or she took that job on, because what else was she supposed to do? What else? There's a lot of times where we're asked to do something that's not even within our job description, but in
Exactly.
order to not be fired, in order
Mm-hmm.
to be able to make rent next month, we
Yes.
do it because that's what we have to do. And
Absolutely.
so that's the point I wanted to make, is that your sister, just like all the rest of us, are constantly under duress. And anybody who asks that question, they need to look up this definition and apply it to every single worker in this country. I just wanted to
Absolutely.
point that out.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. So like I was saying, when I go back to it, I guess when a person dies, like
Yeah.
I lost my dad before, and then my grandmother died, and then I never thought that, my sister and my baby sister, like somebody you talk to every day, so many
Hmm.
times a day. We grew up together. I remember us in a bathtub together.
Yeah.
Like, I never thought maybe I should have been more firm with her, because we did get in arguments about it. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
And my
Yeah.
mom said, this job is coming between you guys. And I said, okay.
Yeah.
And I told her, I said, listen, I will help you. I want you to
Yeah.
go on with your business, with your catering business. I want you to do that. And this time she knew. She was like, okay, Chris, okay, I'm gonna do it. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, I'm gonna start getting everything ready for you. It's gonna be hard in the beginning. It's gonna be
Yeah.
hard in the beginning, but it'll be okay. My sister, my sister died. Like, she died, and I got so much that I want to cover. So I'm just gonna tell you about the finish that part. When she had finally made a decision to leave them, that was too
Hmm.
late. It's because she's no longer here. Um, and how it was handled, how it was handled, I don't even know where to begin or where to start at.
Yeah.
But it was wrong. It was wrong. It was wrong how it was handled. It wasn't right. And not to
Yeah.
mention that it was an injustice. Like, you broke the law. The CDC and
Yes.
FDA, you cannot, like, that's what I said. It's just it's so much stuff. Like, it's so much stuff when you think about it, and not only thinking about it. Like, I don't know who authorized him to have regular employees with no medical background, no training, that was not nurse, doctor, or no
Yeah.
licensed professional COVID test. I don't know what
Yeah.
you were thinking. I have no clue what you were thinking, but I know
Yeah.
what I'm thinking now. And not to mention that, like, you have people come and put their lives on the line, and they're so replaceable. They're so priceless. Like, you can just, okay, we're going to keep moving. I'm going to the moon. And I mean,
Yeah.
like, I don't know what he was thinking. And I want people to understand that this is what I want to get out there, is
Yeah.
that the law has been broken. There has
Yes.
been beyond an injustice. Jeff
Absolutely.
Bezos had regular employees, regular Amazon employees, COVID testing with no proper PPE, that were not trained, that were not nurses, doctors, or licensed professionals. The home
Hmm.
COVID test didn't even come out until 2020, until 2021. What were you doing? Like,
Hmm.
the home COVID testing didn't come out to, like, the 2021, and that
Yeah.
was the middle of 2021. What were you doing having regular people who came there to be package handlers, COVID tests, with no medical background at all? My sister
Because they
had a
didn't.
degree in human resources. She was not a doctor. She was not a nurse. She did not sign up to be a doctor or nurse. So that's what
No.
I'm saying. I can understand that it was millions. It was millions of people who say, well, in that profession, you know, sometimes you're gonna get your hand dirty. Absolutely. As if I did it. I broke my finger. I broke my finger twice working at Amazon. One time it got jammed. Two times it was fractured. Like, I know that when you're handling packages, I know things that come with that. But never would you think in a million years that somebody who is a package handler or sorter, they're gonna be asked the COVID test or made the COVID test. Like, what kind of stuff is that?
Yeah.
And to do something illegal at that.
Yeah. I mean, number one, a crime was committed when illegally, making one of your workers to do a task that should be done by a medical professional. Number one.
Absolutely.
Number
Absolutely.
number two, that person ended up dying working for you, doing a task that they should have never been doing, which means that essentially blood is on your hands now for making that person do that job.
JB, you know what? It's crazy. When we had the march and I did the open letter to Jeff Bezos and spoken in front of his penthouse apartment on September 5th, a reporter came up to me while we were marching, and she said, you know, he has blood on his hands. I know he didn't take the gun and shoot her, but this was worse because for the 12 month, for the whole year after March, he allowed people to come in there and never stopped his warehouse, not even for an hour to clean it. And then he had these people in there COVID testing, doing something illegal. He has blood on his hands and he needs to be held accountable. Action needs to be taken.
What Jeff Bezos did is no different than a president signing an executive order to bomb brown people in another country. They're still liable for the actions that were taken against the lives of people.
Absolutely.
And so
Absolutely.
people need to come to terms with this, and that people like him, they did this. And so there was, like, for instance, if there had been medical professionals doing that COVID testing, would Pushon still be alive? I want people in the audience to ask themselves that question. Would she still be alive?
I believe it absolutely 100%. 100%. My sister was healthy. She had no medical issues. She had no medical problems. I believe it 100%. I believe it 100%. And I feel like this. For a life to be gone like that, and listen, I'm going to tell you this. I have so many organizations. I just did something with not just us, and organizations also down in like the Tennessee area, Washington D.C., Seattle, Texas. They sent me the stuff. There were other workers in the warehouse that had caught COVID that had died. I'm not sure. Like, they were there, you know, people come to work sick, everything. But my sister, to this day, is the only person that worked in the COVID testing department that died. And I had talked to one reporter. He wanted, I don't know, he was like, well, I think that if it was someone that was not a brown skin, they would have already took accountability and accepted this. And I said, I don't know, because I want to be that's another thing. I've seen them treat people that the majority of people that work at Amazon are minorities. I want to get that out there. If you look at your delivery drivers, the majority of them, that's just the drivers. That's not even in the warehouse. The majority of people who work at Amazon are minorities. They are. So I've seen them treat Hispanics a certain way. I've seen them treat Blacks a certain way. I've seen them treat Asians a certain way. I've seen that. So he said that he thinks that if it was somebody with white skin, they would already have been taken care of and this and that. And I told him, I don't know, because I've seen Amazon as a whole just be nasty to people. Like, from the feces to the urine of people passing out, that is nothing new. Them people down there at that warehouse, when there was a tornado happened, 3 people in that warehouse died. What were they even doing there? What were they doing there? Why was the warehouse still open? He refuses to close the warehouse. There was a storm that 3 people died at that warehouse. There was a tornado. I don't know if their families, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know who those people were, what color they were, but this is about a man who is a most powerful man in the world, who has so much resources, more than enough money. Why he had workers there illegally doing something. And if it was anybody else, you better believe that somebody would be in jail now. The law has been broken. There's no way in the world that I don't even know who told you to do this, but you did it to save money. That's like, he did it to save money. If you think about it, he did it to save money. And not only thinking about it, at that time, A lot of workers were scared. They were calling out. He was going to get them out. The door was open and closing was an open door. Like, they had interviews for it was a group of people coming in every day. If these people saying they got COVID, they're lying about it. Let's get them tested. They lied about it. Let's get them out of here. Because it's the turnaround service, like you can get the stats for Amazon. A turnaround is just like that. They don't care about employees. If you can come there, you can stay on this belt. You can sit up here this 9 hours and not move off this belt. That's what we need. We need you to get in there. If you can't do it, you go to the bathroom. You're out of here. Like, they don't understand that. That's what it is. That's what it is. Like,
they're looking for robots.
Somebody seeing it, hearing it, and then actually working there. That's exactly what it is. You are so replaceable there. People came in there and put their lives on the line and died. And then I think a couple months later, he says, well, thank you. I want to thank the workers for sending me to the moon. Sir, my sister died. You had her in there illegally COVID testing. And I can tell you right now, she was not a nurse and she was not a doctor. She had no medical background at all. And you didn't even apply her with the proper stuff. You didn't even have it outside. You was in the middle of 2020. What were you thinking? What were you thinking? Why did you do that? And then it's like, when it happened, because I said I had to get to this part, we called them. I called them to tell them, and they said that 2 days later they called to ask why she wasn't at work. So the communication, like the human resources over the phone versus there, are two different things. So I told them, they said, okay, we're going to see what we can do and get back to you. And I said, okay. And then I called them again because it happened like almost going towards a week. And I don't know if they know, when a person passes away and is deceased, like, the funeral home's not going to wait on you forever. And keep in mind, this is COVID, so many people are dying. I didn't want my sister to go out like that. So they said, well, we'll get back to you. So I asked them the second time, I said, well, do you know when it's going to be? They never said no. They said, we'll get back to you. We're going to, we're going to check some things. We're going to work on some things and we'll get back to you. They never got back to me. A week later, I did the hardest thing that I ever did in my life. And I had to bury my sister. And not to mention that, I did an interview on Status Coup, Jordan. That's when they reached out after they saw the interview and said that they would give 6 weeks of counseling to me and my mom and my niece. And it would expire the second week of April. So I say, for somebody who worked for your company for 4.5 years, you offer 6 weeks of counseling. And then, not to mention that, you put them in a position, Mr. Bezos. What were you thinking, having regular people that came to your company to be package handlers, COVID tests, illegally COVID tests? She was not a licensed profession. She was not a nurse. She was not a doctor. She signed up to be a sorter. What were you thinking, sir? And then 3-4 months later, you say, thank you to the workers. You're going to the moon. He made the most money he's ever made in his career during COVID. I want people to understand that. The whole world shut down. Everything was closed. That warehouse was a madhouse. Everybody was ordering from Amazon. That's why we said, well, why can't we get gloves? Why can't we get masks? If people are online ordering this, why can't we get it? Why can't y'all get it here for us? And that's the fact. I'm telling you. I'm only going to tell you. I'm a factual person. I'm only going to tell you things that I know for a fact, that I've seen with my own eyes. And there were times when we didn't have masks, we didn't have gloves. My sister was in there COVID tested without no N39 mask, like, you know what I'm saying? And I know a lot of people. That's why I said thank you very much, because I know it's a lot of journalists and it's a lot of reporters. I saw a couple of reporters at the march. They said that they weren't, they didn't know. A lot of people are scared to report this. They're scared to speak on it. But it's nothing to be scared of. The law hasn't broken. It's been an injustice. And if you take my story, if you don't, I'm going to get justice for my sister. I'm going to get justice for my sister, because Amazon is going to be held accountable.
Yeah.
It's no way in the world that you can tell me that we're in a pandemic and you have people COVID testing other employees, and that's not even in their job description. That was not even that they didn't even, like, illegally. Like, I'm just trying to figure out, you had them in their COVID testing with the vaccine didn't even come out to December 14th. What are you thinking? I know what you were thinking, but at this point, like I said, last year was a very hard year. It was very rough for me. It was very rough. I'm not gonna lie. I'm thankful to be here, because it almost took me. I've never dealt with grief. I never dealt with death like that. I still have memories. I mean, just that day, that week, everything. I'm never going to get that out of my head. But now somebody's going to have to be held accountable, and not to mention that it was always coming. It was always coming. It just wasn't, when was it going to come? But it's here. And I want justice for my sister, and I'm going to get justice for my sister. I'm going to get justice for her, and I'm going to get justice for my niece. Under any circumstances, I'm going to get justice for her. The law has been broken. My sister was not a doctor nor a nurse. She had no business COVID testing at all, And a month and a half later, they stopped the COVID test. They stopped the COVID testing there. And then I read a story last week on October 7th. Lauren McDowell, who was the health and safety coordinator for Amazon, is stepping down. It comes after her scrutiny of how she handled the COVID situation, the COVID pandemic. Well, Lauren, it's a little bit too late. And if they telling you to step down or resign because of this, it's a little bit too late. The damage is already done. I'm never going to see my sister again. She's never going to see her daughter again. Her daughter's never going to see her again. I don't know what you were thinking. I don't know whose decision it was when y'all were at the round table to say, hey, let's do this. Because keep in mind, in 2020, you couldn't get a COVID test. People had to drive 3-4 hours to get COVID testing. Do you remember that? People were going to different cities to get COVID tests because the lines were so long. People were waiting in line for 6-8 hours. So I don't know why your team didn't tell you, hey, I don't think we should do this. This is not right. Like, this is dangerous. Okay. I'm going to get justice. I'm not worried about it. I'm going to get justice. I never had anybody disrespect my sister in a living, and I'm not in the dead. The law has been broken, and I'm going to get justice. And I don't know if it would have been anyone else, anything. All I know is that she was put in a position she had no business being there. She had no business doing it. And this is where we are. And there's no way in the world that you're going to. I know that he does it every day, because I know there's workers that die. I work with a guy who was having chest pains. We didn't see him. He didn't come back to work till almost 2 months later. He had a heart attack. He was a lane captain. A lane captain is somebody who keeps the truck going, who tell the trucks where to go. So that job is very, very hectic. And they wouldn't let him go. They wouldn't let him go. He had a heart attack. I know that he's so used to disrespecting other employees and getting away with it. I'm not going to allow him to disrespect my sister. I'm not going to let this slide. I'm not going to let this go. I'm not. My sister was put in a position she had no business being put in, and somebody's going to be held accountable. And I don't care who. I don't care who you want to push it off on. Lauren, she's stepping down. I don't care. Somebody is going to take responsibility for this, and that's the fact. If I don't know anything else, that's what I know. Because you had no business having these workers COVID tests when they had no medical background, and the law has been broken.
Now, since our conversation, has Amazon or any representatives from Amazon reached out to you regarding any type of restitution or compensation for your sister?
No, I've had a couple journalists and reporters reach out to me. They've been in talks with Amazon, and I don't know if I can tell you what they're saying, but I'll tell you, no, they haven't. They have not. Amazon has not reached out to me besides when they reached out to offer the 6 weeks of counseling, and that was last year. But have they been talking to the journalists and reporters? I guess given their side, yeah, they have. They just said that they have no comment on it. They're aware. They are aware of the situation. They're aware of my sister, and they have no comment on it. And they're getting the information to make sure that they don't. They want to talk off the record. They don't want to go on the records to make sure that they don't be sued. So they have not reached out to me, but they are talking to the reporters and journalists. And they said they are aware of my sister. And they know her, they know me,
If they are aware of it and they know that an injustice is being done, I really think it is incumbent upon them to fix this situation.
Well, JB, right? This is what it is. No one's not talking about it. See, this is the thing. I met so many reporters that day that said that this is the first time. I had met a reporter at the grand opening of the Pushon Brown Labor Hall Union in Staten Island, New York, and she said that she was like, well, who's Pushon Brown? And then somebody said, well, her sister's right there. Why don't you look it up? Why don't you go talk to her or look it up? Mm-hmm. So she said, I have to apologize to you because I was here doing a report on how that they got the union. They finally got the union, and they got unionized in New York. And then I come and I see that the building is named Pushon Brown. Who is Pushon Brown? So I sat down with her for about 30, 45 minutes, and I told her who my sister was, and she was in a state of shock. So a lot of people don't know. And if you do know, I don't know if you do business with them. This is not going to affect anything because Amazon is worldwide. They are $1 trillion company. I want people to understand that. This is not going to have anything to do if you report on this, if you speak on this with your situation with Amazon. If it was your family member, it was your mother, if it was your sister, if it was your brother, what would you want people to do? What would you want people to know that this is a $1 trillion company that has so much money in the world. If you do a story report on it, it's not going to affect you. Nobody's not going to say, oh, I'm not going to deliver any packages to you. The law hasn't broken. It's been an injustice. A lot of people don't know about it. A lot of people don't know about my sister. They don't know about Pushon Brown. And when they hear about it, they're like, oh my God, I've been hearing bad things about Amazon. Listen, those bad things were going around before me and my sister even worked there. I'm speaking about during the pandemic. I'm speaking about the situation. What this man had workers in there doing, about people were coming there risking their lives on the line, about this man had people illegally COVID testing. That's what I'm talking about. So if it's all about, my dad used to tell me, if you fall for everything, you're not going to stand for nothing. And would you rather people like you or rather you people respect you? I'm like this. I don't care if it's right, it's right. If it's wrong, it's wrong. And this is wrong. If it was your family member, wouldn't you want somebody to speak about it? A lot of people don't know the story. And I feel like they're not going to do anything because it's not on the main news. It's not on the main street news. Like it's not on Fox 5. It's not on CNN. They're not going to do anything. And then when it does come there, it's not there. So we can talk about it all day. It's because they're not worried about me. I'm a little fish in a pond. I'm a little fish in a pond right now. And so she just like this and like this. When somebody makes us do something, then we'll do something. But right now, we're not going to do anything because it's not important. It's not important to them.
This is why I said in the beginning, make sure to share the stream on anywhere in social media. If you have a family member that works at Amazon, show them this. If you have a family member that doesn't work at Amazon, show them this. If you know of anybody that's in independent media, share this with them because this needs to get out. This story, look, CNN won't touch it. MSNBC hasn't touched it. Has CBS reached out to you?
Hold on, MSBC. Hold on. I did a report. Annie Palmer, who does a lot of reporting for Amazon, she reached out to me last year, and she called them. And I never forget, I was in the middle of an interview and I had found out that she had reported. She got back to me and said one thing, and then she went and did a whole she posted a whole, she printed a whole, paragraph about my sister's story, and things were untrue. And that's why I always tell people I'm a factual person. Okay. If like I told you, hearsay, I'm not going to tell you about hearsay. I'm going to tell you about the things that I've seen, the things I've heard. And if it's hearsay, I'm going to tell you, I didn't hear to see it myself, but this is what somebody told me. She said that she had called them. She reached out to them and they said, no, there was no testing or anything like that. I was at marches and rallies. I worked there. Okay. I'm not going to lie to you. I worked there. Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and go on a whole rant around the world in a whole march if I know this is not true. You understand that? I'm not trying to take Amazon down. I could never take them down. They are a $1 trillion company. I don't want to take them down. I want justice for my sister. The law has been broken. If it was anybody else, what do you think would happen? What do you think would happen? I want justice for my sister. I'm not trying to take them down. I don't want to do that. I'm not. My sister actually loved working for his company before this happened. She loved Amazon. That's why we got in fights all the time, is because she would not leave that. She would not leave that company. You understand that? It put her in a position she was in. She was seeing the people coming in sick. She was hearing that. She saw it every day. She worked in the testing department. You know what I'm saying? She was just at her wits in it. She didn't get out in time. You understand that? My sister died 10 days later after she was like, okay, I'm going to take the steps. I'm going to do it. She was scared. Anyway, you're switching a career, you're switching a profession, you're going to be scared. You know what I'm saying? Especially you've been working there for almost 5 years. You see what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, that's neither here nor there. I'm not trying to take Amazon down. I'm trying to get justice for my sister. And people have to put themselves in my shoes. I have to take care of my niece, and I will take care of her to my last breath. I promise my sister that, and that's what I'm going to do. But there's no way in the world that you think that you're going to get away with allowing people to do something that was illegal and a life was lost. Maybe that's okay for other families, but it's not okay for me. It's not okay for me, and it's not going to happen. I am going to get justice for my sister. Yeah. So at the end of the day, going back to Ms. Palmer, she did put a report. She said she called them and they told her no, and she didn't get back to me. But that's not true, because there's so many workers. And that's what I told her, go there. I had a reporter. He went there. He went there and he asked. He went to the location my sister worked at and he asked. And he was like, you are right. He asked. I don't have a reason to lie. Go there. Go to they're not COVID tests anymore, but go to the fulfillment centers. Go to the Amazon buildings if you think workers are out here lying about them not being able to go to the bathroom, them not getting water, them not having the things that they need. Go there. Ask them. Why do you think that lady's stepping down? Why do you think she's stepping down? It's so much stuff out here. So that's why I say when a reporter writes a story or a journalist interviews me, send it to me because I'm going to tell you if I said it, if I didn't say it. I don't have to make Amazon look bad. They do that on a daily basis. They do it on a daily basis. I don't have to make them look bad. I'm going to tell a story about my sister, and I'm going to keep talking about my sister until something is done. I'm going to get justice for my sister, and I'm going to get justice for my niece. I don't have to make them look bad. I'm not trying to do anything. If you report on the story, if you don't, this stuff is still going to happen. We still going anyway. You understand that? I'm still going to keep talking about it. If you want to take it, if you don't. And if you do report on the story, that's not going to stop them from delivering packages to your house. You understand that? You need to know what type of person that you're working with. Jeff Bezos is going to continue to go on, and he is going on. With or without this, he's going on. So if you want to take the story and report on it and do the right thing, because if it was your family member, you would want somebody to do that for you, or not even a family member, but it was just somebody. That's why. Why do you think the whole world was touched when they saw George Floyd? That man, we witnessed. You see stuff like that in movies. We witnessed somebody get killed, get murdered right there, begging for his life right there. That touched the whole world. That touched millions of people. I know people didn't see my sister die. I know they didn't see her get up and go to work every day and get in here and go in here with 3-4 masks on. I know they didn't see that, but I'm telling you, my sister is no longer here. She was put in a position she had no business doing. She was made to illegally COVID test. She leaves behind a daughter that will never see her mother again. I'm 40-something and I still need my mother. I still need her. You understand that? She'll never see her mother again. This man, life are just throwaway to him. They're throwaway to him. So if you don't think I'm telling you the truth or you're worried about it, go to a warehouse, pull the drivers aside, talk to them. Talk to them. Nobody has time to lie. Nobody has time to make Amazon look bad. I don't need to do that. I'm going to talk about it no matter what. If a reporter want to take it, they can take it. If a journalist want to take it, they can. It's still not going to stop the packages from coming to your house. What happens between me and Amazon has nothing to do with anybody out there. They're still going to put those deliveries on your door. I can assure you that. But what's right is this, is that people share this and people get it out there because it's not fair. It's been an injustice done. And if it was somebody that they knew, if it was one of their loved ones, what would they want? What would they want? It's not right. It's not fair. Major companies and major corporations, after seeing that movie called Breaking, I don't know if you've seen it or not. I was telling you about it the last time we spoke. It's about a gentleman. I don't know his last name. His name was Brian, and he was the VA. He went to war. He fought for this country, and that movie was made to show how major corporations can publicly and privately fuck you and get away with it. Excuse my language. The VA owed that man $892, and he lost his life over $892. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. The companies are so big, they're so powerful, they have so much money. A lot of people don't want to talk. A lot of people are scared. A lot of people are intimidated. That's why when they were going to do the unions, they spent, I said, I don't know if this is true. Well, excuse me. I saw something online that said Amazon spent $5.4 million to stop New York from getting unionized. But Chris Smalls, who was like a brother to me and reached out to me when my sister died, the workers from the warehouse that we worked at sent him the stories and the pictures and the videos of my sister COVID testing since one reporter said that this was not true. And he reached out to me. And since then, this man in Jordan from Status Quo called me and my mom every day last year to this day and checked on us to see how we were doing. So when I came up there, I was surprised to see other workers that you won't believe the stories that I had heard. I believe them because of course I worked there, and even if I didn't, what would these people have to lie for? You got over 100 people telling you the same thing, so everybody's lying, and these people don't even know each other. No, that's not happening. He reached out to us, and he just was like, I didn't even know who he was. He was like, listen, I got videos, I got pictures. Is there anything that we can do? And I didn't know who he was, like I said, because a lot of workers there, they were trying to intimidate them, because I was like, these people want to talk to you guys. They were trying to intimidate them, and people were scared. People were scared. But what's right is right. Is that
Yeah.
it's been an injustice done. And I
Yeah.
say about Jordan, as status coop, like he's not scared to bite his tongue. He'll go against the dragon. He's not scared to bite his tongue. He did the work. He did the research. He investigated. He didn't just talk to me. He talked to other employers. You know what I'm saying? That's why he shares and reposts the story at least not every week, because he did the research for himself. He knows that it's true. I think a lot of people, they just want to turn an eye to it. We're sorry it happened. A lot of people there, they like to they probably would more donate than share, because a lot of people are scared. Like a lot of big time reporters are scared. I was speaking to one reporter just last week. I didn't even tell you, just last week, and she was like, oh, I don't know, I think something with the payola, the commercials, I think that a lot of them, they're scared. They're like, gosh, but it's nothing to be scared of, because you weren't scared to post a story about the feces and the urine. You weren't scared to post that, everything else, the pass out. This lady stepping down. If we're going to talk about it, let's talk about everything. Let's talk about Pushon Brown, who was working for Amazon, and that was illegally COVID testing with no proper PPE. Let's talk about it. If we're going to talk about everything, let's talk about what's going on. This woman is stepping down. What is she stepping down for again? I'm sorry. What is she stepping down? Because they didn't like the treatment that she handled, the health and safety.
Yeah. I got to say, big props to Jordan Sheridan for, talking about your story. Big props to Sabby Sabs.
Oh, yes, Miss Sabrina. Yes, Miss Sabrina.
Yeah.
Yes. She interviewed me 2 weeks ago. Yeah. She was just outraged. But that's what happens. A lot of people don't know. And then when they do know, they are outraged about it. It's because, I mean, I can see if my sister worked at the hospital, okay, which my heart goes out to those doctors and then they put, they were in it. You understand that? I remember a doctor said that, he had lost so many patients in one day. Like, they seen things. They put their life on the line. My sister wasn't a nurse and she wasn't a doctor. Not at all. She had no business being put in that position. She had no business being put in that position at all.
Wow. This was tougher than I was anticipating talking to you about this, but I wasn't anticipating to feel like, okay. When we spoke on the phone, when you told me this, the story about your sister and what happened, I honestly wanted to wreck shit. And even the feeling that I had didn't match the feeling that you have, because that was your sister.
Yeah.
I got 2 older brothers. I can't imagine this happening to any one of my brothers. And in hearing about the personality of your sister, that's one of the reasons why I decided to wear this purple shirt, because you told me her favorite color was purple.
Thank you so much.
Out of respect and honor for her.
Thank you.
My thing is, she sounds a lot like my mother, because my mother's the type where she gives of herself over and over and over and doesn't ask for anything. And from what, and for me, I'm the type of person where it's hard for me to say no, right?
Yeah.
And so I identify with that, with your sister Pushon. And I was just like, God, just these kind-hearted people that are constantly being taken advantage of and then constantly put in duress in order to just survive. And then what happens? They die, and then there's no concern whatsoever about them passing away, dedicating almost 5 years to the company, working hard. And you told me she never missed a day of work.
No. I'm like, let me say, Pooh was such a sweet person. If you told her, oh, you know what, I like such and such, I seen this thing, she would have it for you the next day. She would have it for you next day. She never said no. And I'm gonna tell you a story. It was prime, and I was just getting off, and a manager said, hey, aren't you such and such sister? And I said, yeah. And he said, call her back. We need her back. We're looking for a number right now. Give me a number. And I was like, I'll call her. I'm not giving you a number. He's like, okay, well, I'll get it myself. And I was like, she just left. He's like, yeah, but we still need her. I didn't call her. I called her when I got home, and she said they already called me, Chris. I'm on the way in. I said, you just got home. She said, yeah, it's Prime. She never said no, and that's the thing. And anybody, I remember the workers calling me saying, we're so sorry. We know how you was about your sister. She was so different than me. I'm telling you, she was so different than me. She was so different than me. I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it. She was so different than me. She was so quiet. I'm with it. And I would let them know, you know, that girl over there's my sister. Like I'm with it. She was completely different than me. I'm telling you, she was completely different than me, like day and night. My mom would say that day and night. I'm with it. I'm with it. And when I think about I just sit back, and how you said you felt earlier, I felt last year. I just sit back and I think about they were like they worked her, and that's it, to damn death. I told you, a reporter was like, well, you know, former employer. I said, no, she still works for their company. She did not get fired. She did not quit. She still works for their company. She's a damn good employee. She's a damn good employee. My sister, last day was January 7th. January 8th, she did not wake up. She did not wake up. She was a damn good employee. A damn good employee. She knew every shift in that warehouse. You know how many I knew? Just to pick shift. Ask me why? Because guess what? I'm not going to, and I told her, stop working hard for this company. This is not your company. Like when she was happy when they met their goal and quota, like it was her money, like it was her goal and quota. This is not your company. This is not your company. I'm going in there and I'm going to work from 5 to 10 and I'm going to go home. And no one's not going to call me and ask me to come in because they know that I'm not with the shits, because I have another job that I have to go to. And I'm not going to have them work me like a dog. Stop. Well, Chris, you know, such and such, such and such. Stop. They work people like that, promising them to put up positions and get and move higher up, and they never do. They're so disposable. If you do something, if you don't come in, if you ready to go early, you can get out of here. We'll have somebody else to replace you. And that's what that company does. I've heard so many stories, but like I said, I'm just gonna go on the facts and what I know. And the facts is that my sister was it worked in a safety testing COVID department from Sunday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And she COVID tests anywhere from 4 to 6 employees a day, and she was trained by another employee. And that's the facts, and that's what I know.
Yeah. And the thing is that one of the things that I want to do as well, and not enough people do this, is that the people who who go through this, in particular your sister Pushon, we need to humanize them. Because whether you're talking about employees that this happens to, whether you're talking about, unarmed Black people that are shot in the street, they're never humanized.
Yeah.
They're always spoken of in the abstract.
Yeah.
We need to speak about them as the person that they were. And so, there was an article that I came across, speaking about your sister's story. This was out of Perfect Union, More Perfect Union.
And first of all, I wanted, those people are amazing. Those people are beyond amazing. Those guys are amazing. Those people are phenomenal. I'm forever indebted to them. That company right there, I'm telling you, God bless them. God bless them.
Yeah. More Perfect Union, they do great work. I'm just going to read a couple of the first paragraphs. It says Pushon Brown was a loyal Amazon employee for 4 years. Last winter, Pushon was assigned to Amazon's COVID-19 testing team at one of its Virginia warehouse. Despite having no medical background, 3 months later, she got sick and died. Quote, I am assuming it was to save money. Jeff Bezos has more money than anyone in the world. This is what you said. More Perfect Union. He could have hired a group of doctors, nurses, just to be there on call, or to have a little trail outside the facility to do just COVID testing, or to do it from 6 a.m. to noon. I am not quite sure why he had other employees training other employees and administering and demonstrating COVID tests to other employees, end quote. By October 2020, Amazon reported that 20,000 employees had contracted COVID. It is unknown how many Amazon workers have died of COVID-19. Pushon leaves behind a 12-year-old daughter and a devastated family. Amazon has refused to provide or discuss any financial compensation with her family. You can help support her family by contributing to their GoFundMe. And I also have the GoFundMe up for anybody that's watching, because that's also very important. Because people should not have to suffer because of the crimes that Amazon has done. So I'm also going to put the link to the GoFundMe in the chat as well,
I appreciate that.
because of course, of course, of course. Look, here's the thing, and this is what I always say. We are all intrinsically connected in this world. We are all we are all related in some way, shape, or form. Your pain is my pain, your joy is my joy. And people have to look at one another that way. And I would want somebody to do the same in, that position.
Yeah.
So we have to be empathy is what's going to save the world.
Mm-hmm.
So and this is the least that I can do. And so, so if you, can, please make sure to, if you can't donate, then please make sure to share,
Sure. Yeah.
um, you know, because this is also very important. How is your mother and your niece holding up?
Um, well, my niece is doing very well. I'm so surprised at how well she's doing. She's such a sweet girl. Gosh, she's such a sweet girl.
Hmm.
She's such a sweet girl. She was her mom's only child. She was a baby. She slept in the bed with, my sister was a baby. When she would come to my house, we would sleep in the same bed. Like that was my baby, you know.
Yeah.
Um, she would, she would sleep in the same bed with me. She slept in the same bed with her mother. She's doing well. I'm happy that she's doing so well. She carries me. If you go and you look on the line when we did the ribbon cut for the Pushon Brown Labor Hall in Staten
Yeah.
Island, the building that's named after my sister. And I want to once again thank Chris for that, because he didn't have to do that. I know he's very busy. He has a million things going on now that they got unionized. He's going all over the route trying to help
Yeah.
companies, Starbucks, Chipotle unionize. But for him to do that for my sister, and when we got in there and they had the beautiful picture of her on the wall, tears just streamed down my face, because every time I see my sister, every time I see her, I can't even look at our text messages anymore. For her birthday, I did, because I showed them to my mom, and I thought it was actually going to be bad, but I thought I was going to get more emotional, but I didn't. It was just us talking back and forth, and she's just telling me how crazy I would be sending her stuff, like funny stuff, and she was just telling me how crazy I was. But
Hmm.
um, my mom, she's taking it very hard. That was her baby. And
Hmm.
my
Yeah.
sister, she was so sweet. She never wanted any arguing and fighting. She was just a very peaceful person. If you asked her to do anything for you, she would. Like
Yeah.
she would do anything. It was nothing that she wouldn't do for you. And
Hmm.
my mom's taking it very hard. Last year she almost did not make it. She did not want to be here. Um, but it's just day by day with her. Day by day
Yeah.
with her. But
Yeah.
Gabby has carried me, because I gotta go back. If you go back to the video for the ribbon cut, I just was so emotional. I just broke down, and she said it's gonna be okay, Chris.
Yeah.
She said it's gonna be okay. And just to see her so young, so young, carry me and hold me, I'm forever
Mm.
indebted to that. Because she knows how much her mom meant to me.
Yeah.
She knows how much her mom meant to me. You know,
Yeah. Yeah. And you said Pushon, her favorite holiday was birthdays.
she loved birthdays and she loved Christmas. The birthdays she would call. Oh my God, she would call like that night, 12 o'clock, and she would start singing to you, and it would go on the whole day.
Yeah.
I would give anything to hear her voice again.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And of course, um, you know, she, from what you told me, she was just a beautiful soul. Um,
Yeah.
and You said that her name came from
Oh,
a
I'll tell you the
town in
story. Uh,
Vietnam, if it's
yeah,
correct.
my dad went to Vietnam, and he had stepped on a mine, and he got his leg blown off, and they took him to a little village
Mhm.
named Pushon, and he stayed there, and they treated him. He still lost his leg, but he made it to be alive. He's no longer here, but when he got back home, he told my mom what happened, and he said he wanted to name her Pushon.
Oh man,
Yeah, yeah,
what an what an honor. That's an
yeah,
honor. Yeah,
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 yeah. I
yeah.
told Chris, I said he would have loved my sister because she would have loved him. And I said when I walked into the unit building, I said, "Wow, Dukes," I said, "You got a whole building named after you." I said, "You
Hmm.
got a whole building." It was amazing to see them on in Times Square, just chanting my sister's name and screaming my sister's name. It was just like it was a I never experienced anything like that before. And even doing a march and marching and speaking in front of
Hmm.
speaking down there at the rallies and meeting the other Amazon workers and the other Chipotle, the Starbucks employees, meeting them, just them saying, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry to hear about your sister. I read the story." Like, my
Hmm.
sister, she was like she was just she got along with anybody. She was a girl's girl.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
this is
yeah.
crazy.
Hmm. I always emphasize make sure to say their names, right?
Yeah.
If you're sharing this on social media, put the hashtag justice for Pushon
Yes, please.
because that's important. People will go, well, who was that? Tell
Yeah.
them the story, share. I don't care if you share this stream, you can share Savvy stream, you can share Status Quo stream, whichever. But make sure you share the story
Yeah,
because
just get
that's
the
what's
story out
important.
there. Yeah, get the
Mhm.
story out there. It's because it's a lot of stories that happen in the world we don't know about. Like,
That's
I
true.
can't imagine all the stories and all the things that it wasn't video camera there or anything like that. People wouldn't, it's a lot of things that happen, but it has been an injustice. This is a major company. This is
Mhm.
a one of the richest companies in the world had
Yeah,
employees illegally COVID testing.
yeah, yeah. And my one of my final questions is, how are you doing?
Um, JB, I told you last year was rough for me. It was hard. It was really rough. I was ready to give up. I was. Um,
Yeah,
I feel like I damn near gave up. Like I said, I almost didn't make it.
yeah,
But I'm doing okay. I gotta be here. I gotta be here for my niece because she looks at me every day. She's looking at me. She's watching me. Um, I'm making the decisions as far as trying to raise her how her mother would have raised her, or what this would have been okay with Pooh, or what. I got a lot. It's a lot up here, but
yeah.
I made my sister a promise, and I'm gonna keep it. And that's what I'm big on. I'm big on promises, and I'm gonna keep it. And I'm gonna take care of her daughter to my last breath, and I'm gonna get justice for her.
Mhm.
Every day is I just take it day by day. I take it day by day. Some days are good, some days are worse than others. Some days I can't get out of bed. I'm not gonna lie to you and be honest to you. Some days I can't get out of bed. I miss
I
my
bet.
sister. I miss her
I
so
bet.
much. I think
Yeah,
about her every day. I think about her
yeah,
every single day. Every
yeah,
holiday. I think
yeah.
about her. And some days, some days I just can't make it. But I gotta keep going because I got my niece and I got my mother, and they look up to me. My mom depends on me. Her daughter depends on me, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna see this through. I don't know. There's no book to it. Like I said, my dad was old when he died. My grandmother was old. I never thought that I would lose my baby sister. Not like this. But I'm gonna get justice for my sister. That's all I want. I'm not trying to take the company down. I'm not trying to do anything like that. I just want justice for my sister. I need to have it. I have to have it. It's been an injustice. The law has been broken. I just want justice for my sister. That's
Mhm.
all. This could never happen again. It could never happen again. If there's another
Mhm.
pandemic, like for companies to put people in positions to do things that they should not be doing, where they're not
Mhm.
qualified to do that, it's not right. It's not okay. It's not
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah. I gotta say, Miss Tina, you are a resilient person, and I don't know where I would have found the strength. Um, that just shows that you are made of some tough stuff. And I'm sorry. I'm
Thank
I'm
you.
just sorry that this happened. You
Thank you.
know, I know that, it's not coming from the right person, but you at least deserve to hear that.
It's coming from a person. It's coming from a person who cares, because you didn't have to stop your day today. You didn't have to reach out to me to do interview. I know it's a lot of journalists and reporters who've seen the story, and some of them don't want to touch it. You didn't have to reach out to me, and I appreciate that. And I want to thank everyone who's on the live today. I want to thank everyone who donated. I want to thank everybody. If you can't donate, please share. Please share.
Mm,
Please share.
yeah,
Please think about, just put yourself in that shoe, and don't even put yourself in that shoe. It was wrong done. That didn't have
yeah,
to be done. So I
yeah,
appreciate it.
yeah. Is there any final thoughts that you wanted to share with the viewers, um, in regards to this story, or anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Well, I want to thank Miss Sabrina, because she reached out to me, and then that's how you were able to reach out to me. I
Yeah,
always, 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 always want to thank Jordan. Want to thank
yeah,
Chris, because Jordan,
hmm
like I said, Jordan has been on the main line. He's not scared. He's gonna go. He's gonna talk.
hmm
You're not gonna be able to shut him up. He's gonna share. So I appreciate that. Chris is a lifesaver. Just
yeah,
everything that he does and continue to do and speak my sister's name. It means a lot. I want to thank everybody who donated. Um, please share the story. Please, please, please share the story. Um, like I said, it's just me. I'm a factual person. If anybody wants to know anything about my sister, they're more welcome to get in contact with me. I'm a factual person. I go off of facts and what I know. Um,
yeah,
Other than that, just thank everybody. Thank everybody for listening. Please share the story. Please, please share the story. And
definitely.
um, I'm gonna get justice for my sister. I have to take care of her daughter. She's my responsibility. She's my priority. And I made my
Mm,
sister that promise. We talked about it. When we were young, we would talk about stuff when we had kids. If something happened or what. And this was something years ago she told, you know.
mhm,
And it's crazy because she had left paperwork, and the day my sister died, my niece, she came, she said, Mommy said she wants you to have something if something never happened to her. So she was instilling that. She told her daughter that. And when she brought me the paperwork, just seeing my sister's writing and what my sister said, you know,
mhm,
I just broke down, because I can't believe she trusted me enough, like, that, and just the things that she put on the paper for me. And I made her a promise, and I'm going to keep the promise. I'm going to take care of her daughter to my last breath. I'm going to get justice for my niece, because she's here now, and she has
mhm.
no mother, and she'll never see her mother again. And I cannot imagine what it's like to be 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I cannot imagine what it's like to be without a mother. I cannot imagine to be in this world by yourself, without a mother, without a father. Like, I'm going to get justice for my niece. I'm going to get justice for my sister. So please, everyone, thank you so much for listening to my story. Please share. Please share. Please share. Tell a friend, and tell 1,000 friends, 10 friends, 20 friends, 100 friends. Please share the story. It really means a lot to me and my
Yeah,
mom. You guys share the story. Get it out there.
yeah. Look, solidarity and love to
Thank
you,
you.
your mother, your niece, and all of your family and loved ones
Thank you.
that, that lost our dear sister Pushon.
Thank you.
So,
Thank you.
mhm.
Thank you so much, Mr. JB. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank,
I'll talk to you
thank you so
soon. Thank
much.
you.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.
Thank you. Bye bye. So that was Miss Tina Brown. The resilience is strong with her. I couldn't imagine that happening to any one of my brothers, and that happens. I couldn't imagine that happening, God, to any of my family, and then having to endure that. This is why we at RBN constantly are talking about class and we're talking about the rights of workers. Because in a system where workers' rights are constantly being diminished and you have more and more Pushon Browns every single day. And that next person could be a family member or even you. And the fact that you have some people that just flippantly just don't care. No, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Look, I'm going to say this. I don't care. So, shout out to Chris Smalls for elevating this story. Shout out to Jordan Sheridan. Shout out to my sister Sabby Sabs. I don't care if it's breaking points. I don't care if it's TYT. I don't care if it's Kyle Kolinsky. I don't care if it's David Dole, Mike Figueredo. I don't care. Hell, I don't care if it's CNN, MSNBC. Put your money where your mouth is. Get in touch with Tina. Get in touch with her. Have her on. Talk to her. Have her elevate the story about her sister. I don't care who you are. If you say you're for workers' rights, if you say that you stand with workers, have her on. My comrades at INN, Indie News Network, I know I see you, Indie Left. If you need her information, I will get you her information. MCSC Network, if you want, y'all got my contact information. Get in my DMs. I don't care. Let them know. Contact her. Have her on. Because the corporate media don't have the guts to talk about this. They don't. But I know y'all do. I know all of you do. Come into my DMs. We'll talk about it. People's Voice Network, Populist Voice. Yo, let's go. Because those of us in the independent left media, we got the guts. We know. I know you do, and we can do this because corporate media is not going to elevate this because corporate media is scared. They're scared of him, but we're not. We may not be as big as some of these other people. Look, Jimmy Dore, I implore you, man. Let's get this story out there. I don't care, Russell Brand. If you ever catch wind of this, we got to bring this stuff out here. Because here's the thing: this is about a worker that was wrong, a worker that's life was taken away because of greed of corporations, and this happens day in and day out. This is so wrong. Um, I'm just I'm upset, and my heart just goes out to Pushon's family. Um, Thanks for all the comments on Rockfin. Thank you to Opus, Indie Left as well. Action for Sean's. Thank you so much for your comments. Says the reason they have regular employees doing the testing is a dark answer. Absolutely. Thank you so much. Action for Assange. Thank you for the tip on Rockfin as well. They say thank you, Tina, for sharing your story. Dave Burt, thank you so much for your comments on Rockfin as well. Um, thank you for telling it like it is. Everyone who is commenting, in uh, the chat, Alex says workers will never be safe under capitalism. Absolutely. See the change is good to see. Yeah, it's a very heavy subject. Good to see you, Bad Cookies. Fix the App says workers will never be safe under any isms. They'll lead to authoritarianism. Uh, thank you for your comments on here. Let me see. Joan Avalon says, don't forget Jackson Hinkle. Yeah, Jackson Hinkle too. Um, Indy left. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are real ones at INN. Um, Rocco Vici says, what happened? So a woman by the name of Pushon Brown, who was a worker at Amazon, she was tasked with administering COVID testing, even though she has no, um, even though she has no medical training and she's not a medical professional. Instead of hiring doctors and nurses and techs to do medical testing for COVID, they had warehouse workers do it instead. Pushon Brown contracted COVID and then she died soon after. And there was no compensation, no restitution paid toward Pushon Brown's family for her death. And having someone who is not a medical professional to administer these tests is really should be illegal. If not, it is illegal. They shouldn't have been doing that. And so she lost her life. She was essentially killed, allegedly. I have to say it that way because of legal ramifications, but she died from COVID. So her sister was recounting the story about what happened and that what led up to that, her sister dying. Um, my question is, are you prepared? Are you prepared to step up to challenge power, even if your voice isn't that big? Someone with a very light, small voice by themselves, you can't hear. But if enough of them join together, it gets louder. One little candle may not light up a dark room that much, but a million small candles, well, they can light up the sky together. And I think this is something that needs to be brought to light. Look at what they did to Tara Reid. She tried to speak out against Joe Biden. Nothing. Until people actually started collectively talking about it, right? Of course, the corporate media didn't want to touch it because they didn't want to touch somebody that was powerful. They don't want to touch this because Bezos is powerful. But what they don't realize is that collectively we have more power. Bad Cookie says, I mean, criminal charges like manslaughter for getting her sister killed. That's the logical conclusion, right? That should be the logical conclusion. Optimism of the will says, I'll repeat my personal motto: without permission, we cannot start a revolution. Without empathy, we do not deserve to win one. See the Change says, if you don't hear this and other stories like this, then don't feel anything. If you're not moved to act, to do something, then something's majorly wrong. Absolutely. Bad Cookie says, because the manager, they're just as responsible for her death. They knew what they were doing. They did the job for Bezos. Yes, I agree. Oh boy. So once again, I'm going to share my screen. This was Pushon Brown. This was her. If you don't feel anything, or if you're looking at this from just lack of emotion, look inward. Look inward. Because a crime was committed. And she deserves justice. I really don't know much else to say actually after this, because like what else do you say? Please share this stream. Share it. Let the story get out there. And anybody who's in independent media, come into my DMs. I'll get you her contact information. Have Tina on and let her share the story far and wide. Okay. Yeah, Dabby Dabs. I'll get the GoFundMe link in the chat again. This is the link to their GoFundMe, her GoFundMe. Uh, Rocco, it was in Virginia. Um, so yeah, let me share that really quick. And I'm sorry I'm not my typical happy-go-lucky self, but this was a very tough segment for me. So this is the GoFundMe for Pushon Brown. So if you can share, let people know. All right. So I just want to thank all of you guys for tuning in for this special stream. Um, and I want to thank you all for tuning in. Um, and of course, subjects like these aren't the sexy subjects, right? Because I don't have a particular famous, internet personality, to talk about in the stream, you know, and it's a somber subject, but it's ones like this that are deeply important. And these are the ones that need to be shared far and wide. So for those of you that have shared, and for those of you who are in independent media that are wanting to reach out to Christina and talk about this subject, thank you. Thank you so very much, because this is very important. Uh, those of us on, especially those of us who are working and poor and on the left, we have solidarity, and you guys show that every single day. And I just want to say that I thank you and I love you, and I appreciate you allowing me to be able to give a platform so that we can share stories like Pushon's. If you guys have not liked the stream, please make sure to like the stream. Um, Also, on my channel, I did uploads to Dirty Truths by Michael Parenti and Blood in My Eye by George Jackson. So if you guys want to go on my channel, you guys can look that up. This Tuesday on my channel, I will be having Misty Winston on Comrade Misty. She'll be talking about her, action coming up for Action for Julian Assange coming up soon. And then this Thursday, I will be doing a special stream at noon. I'll be having on Maz. He'll be talking about what's going on with the women in Iran. He'll be talking about that. So that's going to be a very important subject to talk about as well. So I am going to be anticipating that conversation too. Um, Please make sure to catch the streams here on RBN, whether it's with Nick and CJ, Savvy or Rome. Make sure to catch them. I'll see you guys also on Tuesday at 4 for RBN Live. I can't wait to see you guys again. And look, I always say, my customary, water your plants, water yourselves, leave the world better than you found it. And if I could, I give all of you a forehead kiss. And the last thing I'm going to say is justice for Pushon.